wells in Kingfisher oil fields is a landmark to the commercialization of Uganda's oil. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has pulled the historical drilling rig for the first oil well in Kingfisher oil fields.
Important. You can see how God helped us. This is fantastic. This oil we are talking about was made by God here. Because that oil we are talking about is coming from mainly plants.
He assured neighboring communities that government has established a sustainable spillovers contingent plan.
But for me, the biggest local content, which all of you can participate in, is agriculture. Producing food. Because all these people who work in the oil fields need food. Nobody has computers, one. No, arazuru mtu nali ya computer. Nobody yes. Grow food so that these people buy food from you people. Eggs, chicken, milk.
Any plan or any development you do, you have to be careful about the mitigations you have should something happen. So there is the oil spill contingency plan that is in place for all these projects should that happen.
The signing of the final investment decision in February last year facilitated significant processes of downstream and upstream in oil production. These, among others, include the 440 kilometers East African crude oil pipeline EACOP.
Activists tried to interfere somehow, but we had a united voice and we were able to put in place all the laws that were required on good time. Works towards the development of the East African crude oil pipeline are currently ongoing, and this includes the engineering, procurement and construction, the construction of the coating plants in Tabora.
Kingfisher oil fields are being operated by the China National Offshore Oil Corporation (CNOOC) upon the satisfactory of geological capacities and other safety-related requirements.
We spare no effort to minimize our potential effects and to protect the environment in our area of operation. We shall continue to ensure efficient and effective development of the Kingfisher developed area in an environmentally friendly and sustainable manner.
China has adopted a two-step strategic plan. Step one is to basically realize socialist modernization from 2020 through 2035.
Spudding of oil wells will spur other processes and infrastructure, like a central processing facility required to have a final product to market.
When you're ready to turn on the taps, when the CPF is ready, and when the Kabale custody transfer point is ready, and then you start evacuating that volume to market.
We are clearing the ground, we are compacting it, and we are getting it ready for the facilities or that have to be constructed within the CPF facility.
Government entities have committed business strategists to look for potential financiers and offshore partners to develop the oil sector.
You've taken care of the technical planning, the legal and regulatory environment is clear, the resettlement action planning is according to good standards, recognizable standards, and the investment is profitable, you'll attract the financing. So now as we structure this business, we have to start thinking of the commercialization plan or the trading of that allocation of the crude. So today I wouldn't tell you that we've locked in an agreement with a refiner in the Middle East or Singapore. Those are the usual destinations, but it's something that we are working on as we prepare to receive the crude.
Petroleum Authority of Uganda is set to establish a real-time monitoring facility for oil production in Uganda.
This is a facility where information from all the activities in the oil and gas sector will be relayed and received in real time.
Kingfisher oil fields are expected to harbour 31 oil wells with capacity of 40,000 barrels per day in first 5 years. Government working with partners are striving to deliver the 2025 projection of producing the first oil. Abdul Nasser Luwama for UBC.
Now, the Cabinet has approved a proposal to amend the Workers' Compensation Act cap 225. This is expected to help improve the working conditions of workers, as well as resolve workplace injuries and even protect the employers.
Workers will now get some relief after the Cabinet passed a resolution to amend Workers' Compensation Act cap 225. This is done to ensure that employees work in a comfortable environment and eliminate tension while at workplaces.
Will improve the assessment, compensation and enforcement of awards to workers for injuries suffered and scheduled diseases incurred during the course of their employment.
At different occasions, cases have been filed in courts of law regarding human rights abuse at workplaces by workers, but the recent act does not address such patent issues.
Failure to address the issues affecting effective management of the processes for compensation of workers will mean that the country will continue to suffer rising costs of litigations, increased labor complaints, and disputes related to workers' compensation.
Minister of Gender also highlighted on the minimum wage bill and the employment amendment bill.
The matter is still before Cabinet, and the country will be informed when decisions are made from Cabinet. The employment amendment bill, this bill was returned to Parliament for decisions.
On the other hand, Cabinet has also passed a resolution to compensate the people who will be
to land and assets which is recognized in our laws. And those are what are popularly called the Rwanda owners, because they have a claim to the land. Now, those ones also under our legal framework, national laws, those ones can be compensated.
A tune of 920 billion Ugandan shillings has been set aside. However, people who are settling on government land and those who are illegal in certain places are known to be compensated the same way, despite the government's plan.
Now, this category mainly occupies land, including public land, railways land, land for NFA, land for NEMA, and wetlands. The international policies actually provide that compensation to this category be made at full cost, at full replacement cost for their developments, and a choice for option of adequate housing with security of tenure. But our laws require that such people without legally recognizable interest to the land or assets they occupy would ordinarily be considered as squatters, and they are evicted from that land.
Kampala-Jinja Express Highway is a 95-kilometer length that will cost more than 5.5 trillion, and the construction is expected to start in June 2024. Deborah Namamonde, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has instructed the Ministry of Finance to provide all the necessary information to the Committee of Budget to complete a compilation of the Budget Performance Report for financial year 2021-2022 by the end of the week. The House has not adopted the report due to failure by the Ministry of Finance to provide information on expenditure of the last quarter of the financial year. We have more details.
Parliament has not adopted the report of the Budget Committee on budget performance for financial year 2021-2022 as per the order paper.
And in my assessment, there was an attempt to smuggle budget performance using the BFP report. And I was wondering, the Honorable Modimi I have known over the last 10 years could really, a host that I know could not produce a budget performance report. The disclaimer they have smuggled through the Speaker's office saves their brushes.
Present to Parliament, it is by the format as per law. Right, Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, is Honourable Lope, my good friend, in order to insinuate that I've smuggled the road when I've acted in law.
The Vice Chairperson of the Budget Committee told the House that Minister of Finance only gave them releases but were not given the actual expenditures of last financial year.
So Finance to provide us with information about the expenditure for Q1 and Q2. Up to now, we are still waiting. They only gave us the releases, the figures in terms of releases per vote, but the actual expenditure was not given. So my appeal, Right Honourable Speaker, sir, that you prevail over Minister of Finance to give us that information on the expenditure part by Friday, then on the process.
The Leader of Opposition, Mathias Mpuga, requested the Speaker to compel Minister of Finance to avail that information, emphasizing that it has been in a defiance mode.
Speaker, the House has every reason to reject the BFP report without a performance report. The reason why we are demanding for these figures, because we know that finance has been in defiance mode across the financial year. They have been supplying air, they have been here on the floor and supplied lies to the House. We have every reason to conduct a citizen arrest on them before we consider the BFP report. Right on the speaker.
Member of Parliament, Kasilo County Elijah Okupa said there should be sanctions if the Minister of Finance does not adhere to what they are supposed to do.
Does not adhere to what he's supposed to do. The half-year budget performance is very key for us to be able to move. We know there are items that we did not approve and they went ahead to release money for those activities. Could that be the reason why they are being very keggy in releasing the half-year performance?
Bataringaya Basil, Member of Parliament, Kashari North Mbarara, a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, said they are still in the timeline to produce that report and they will make it.
Still within the time framework of delivering on the promises, the financial performance of the first half of the year, and then the projections for the next period. So by the next week, the time that has been promised, we anticipate that the combined technical and political capacity of the people involved, the Finance Ministry will deliver on its promise.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, gave the Budget Committee until Tuesday next week to present the report, but warned that without a certificate of compliance to climate change, it will not be considered.
This is a statutory deadline. Minister of Finance, provide the committee with all necessary information by 9 a.m. on Friday.
I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji at Parliament.
The Inspector General of Government, Betty Olive Namisango Kamya, has applauded the whistleblowers who unearthed the corruption-related acts at Entebbe International Airport. Now, in a meet with the media, IGG Betty Kamya said the whistleblowers, despite their lowly positions, were brave enough to expose the corrupt.
The Inspector General of Government has asked Ugandans to come out boldly and expose corrupt officials in government positions. This comes after some Ugandans exposed corrupt officials at Entebbe International Airport, which caught the eye of stakeholders.
The Inspectorate of Government launched a new approach to fight corruption, and we said we are going to take the war against corruption out of our conditioned offices with swinging chairs, and out of our conditioned boardrooms, and out of conference halls and business class air tickets or European cities, and take it to the people, because it is the people who feel and understand the pain of corruption.
The inspectorate has vowed to thoroughly investigate not only the culprits but also the whole institution of Entebbe International Airport.
It is an indication that there is a systemic problem in the authority. We are therefore going to do a systemic intervention to establish the reason for persistent corruption in the authority.
Betty Kamya calls upon Ugandans to expose by reporting government officials who seem to be having excessive wealth which is not commensurate with their known source of income.
Ugandans are suffering to get land titles, to get IDs, to get permits of all sorts. People pay for all public services, for medicine in hospitals, for jobs when they qualify for them, for positions in school, for use of roads, for building permits. Ugandans are tired.
Over the last 5 years, the Inspectorate of Government has investigated 21 cases relating to Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, with huge amounts of money from fraudulent procurements recovered. Sudat Kaye and Hilda Mutonyi, UBC News.
Now, the Ministry of Education and Sports has launched the U-Learn initiative geared towards enabling teachers' skill upgrade. Now, Minister of State for Higher Education John Chrysostom Muyingo emphasizes the need to equip teachers with new skills in teaching, which they in turn pass on to the learners. 1,000 teachers have so far been enrolled into the online initiative that offers various courses.
The U-Learn initiative is an online program that offers several courses to enable teachers upgrade their skills.
Their teachers have been fighting with who stopped learning the day they graduated. And I want you to imagine this era. But this one is giving them another opportunity. You can upgrade your skill from your bedroom. You can upgrade your teaching methods under a tree in your compound.
With partnership from MTN, the e-learning platform is zero-rated as a way to encourage more enrollments.
We have now had 45 NTCs, or teacher training colleges, that have come on board, and we have over 1,300 teachers that have been enrolled.
There are still challenges in access to internet and gadgets in rural schools, though the ministry is determined to address the issues.
To continue equipping our schools with computers and computer labs, I would like to encourage all our teachers out there to include in your budgets, the way you manage your resources, include some money that will enable you acquire at least a computer or an iPad.
To be a success, Quantum Financing Group, which is the lead developer, makes recommendations.
Ministry to make this CPD, which is the continual professional development of the teachers, mandatory, and so that they can also be able to monitor. So that means that every year they're able to know which teachers have been able to enhance themselves.
Marian Womicha, UBC News.
River Katonga and Katonga Bridge along Masaka Road are key to the NRA bush war that led NRA revolutionary fighters to capture power on January 26, 1986 because of their geographical setup and nature. The NRA revolutionary fighters, under the command of the late Major General Pecos Kutesa and Major General Fred Mugisha, camped base at River Katonga, where they had to cut off further advancement and reinforcement to Uganda National Liberation Army to the south and far west in the 80s, hence making it easy for the liberation forces to capture. Our reporter Ivan Juko visited the scene of the battlefield at Katonga that broke the backbone of the UNLA soldiers and spoke to the residents and survivors, and now reports.
The National Resistance Army guerrilla war that saw NRA revolutionary fighters conquer different regions remains a live memory to many who witnessed the war. However, River Katonga is situated in present-day Kayabwe Town Council, Mpigi District. Its geographical location was instrumental in breaking the backbone of the Ugandan National Liberation Army soldiers when the NRA revolutionary fighters cut off Katonga Bridge, making it difficult for the UNLA soldiers from further advancing far south and western Uganda regions. The ploy confined the UNLA soldiers in some areas of Mpigi, Wakisa and Kampala, which were already infiltrated by the NRA revolutionary fighters and sympathizers, advancing on different front lines to Kapucha, Kampala. The fierce battles of 1985, led by General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni alongside his enforcement commanders after sweeping through parts of western and southern Uganda, capturing most of Rwenzori, Fort Portal, proceeding to take over Mbarara, capturing Mubende, Mityana, Busuju. They descended northwards to Masaka. Masaka being a commercial town then, that had suffered heavy bombardments in the 1970 Liberation War, that overthrew President Idi Amin, was contesting a ground between NRA and UNLA to defeat the rebels. The real battle for Masaka town, UNLA troops had attacked General Salim Saleh's headquarters to capture it, but met a strong resistance from Saleh, who was the overall commander, who worked in line with his battalion commanders, who included the late Pecos Kutesa and Freddy Mugisha commanding the 1st Battalion. The thick papyrus swamp was impassable and it created no room for enemies to cross the bridge at River Katonga. UNLA couldn't access food, safe clean water among other necessities, and the only choice they had was to surrender Masaka barracks to NRA.
We defeated 16 enemy offensives in the area of Mubende, Luwero, and part of Mpigi.
Later, UNLA eventually surrendered in Mbarara barracks, and the NRA started planning the battle for Kampala, which they ably won. It was like a dream to many who survived. We spoke to eyewitnesses in the Katonga geographical terrain.
As long as the people were willing, because this is their own war. The people are actually the ones who urged us on to fight. If we do not have this support, we would never have started such a war.
As NRM under RO 0001 General Retired Yoweri Kaguta Museveni waits to celebrate 37 years of liberation slated for Thursday this week, UBC TV visited Katonga, where the NRA deployed the cream of the mobile forces at the bridge to conquer Uganda. Residents here shared the untold Katonga Bridge bush war memories from the rebels that trekked forth and back, creating panic among them and the shootings.
Nechigwa nechimala okugwa nechibwatuka nechatika muvamu empiso muvamu amajirita nenga akantu ako katono kufumitako bwoti owedde okulemala. Waliwo omusajja yajja n'atugamba nti Katonga emmotoka tezikyayita ezivaawa n'ezeno tezikyayita naye ti mu ddakiika ntono wano wagenda kubaawo ekizibu. Twagenda okuwulira bannaffe abayambuka okulinnya ku lusozi bawulire ti amasasi gabakutte nti nti babakutte ne babokyera mu nnyumba. Tetwabalindanga kugira batwadduka buli we twabalabanga nga tudduka buddusi nga tumanyi bayeekera tudduka buddusi kwekweka. Embeera yali mbi nnyo, abantu baffe battibwa, abadduka ebintu byabwe byonna byanyagwa. Olutalo olw'entandikwa yaalwo twasooka kulaba abasirikale nga bayita wano ne bakkirira Katonga naye nga tetubalabangako. Tate tuba tuli awo wayita ennaku bbiri ne bookya emmotoka waggulu wali ku pidaawo.
Topista Namusoke, aged 76, lost a husband to the insurgency, leaving her pregnant with 11 children to cater for.
Ebintu twabitwala twagendanga bwe twali ng'ate mpeesa omwana mugongo yakava ku mabeere siina kyemuwa ne tudduka ne tugenda eyo ng'ennamirembe ti obudde bwe bukya engeri gye baali abavubi bagamba katugende tuvubeyo ebyennyanja nga bagenda bwe bakomawo nga bagamba emmere eri eno katugende tunone emmere ffe tusigadde bajja eno twabalabako essaawa ziwera emu abagenze tetubalaba kumbe abasirikale babasanga waggulu awo babasi.
Namusoka recalls it was a huge task for her to phone for them amidst running battles.
Baana bange nabonaabona nengenda n'obwana obuto nga sikyalina byentegeera.
Namusoke took us to the graveyard where her late husband Faras Kombiru's remains were laid to rest after the war ended. Margaret Nacha, a daughter to Namusoke who was only 10 at that time and now 47, shared the trying moments their mother went through.
Twalina bakulu baffe babiri n'abaami abalala ku kyalo ne bayimirira mu muggo omwo ne batusomosa ne basomosa emigugu ne tugguka e Katebo.
Even when Katonga River and the bridge were key in the NRA Bush War victory, residents demand for better service delivery, claiming they have long been forgotten by NRM.
Walietaze okuweebwa ebirabo nga bino. Eddwaliro eddungi nga nkozi ngoyo ne bamuzimba bulungi ne bateekamu essente nga ntono ng'omukadde ngoyo bw'agendayo afuna obuyambi ku ssente ntono z'aba nazo nga bamuwa keyo ennungi.
Habati Kakomo, the chairman, Jandra Sel Katonga, decried high crime rate and land evictions in the area.
Still have a very big problem on land. This is a land problem. Right from now, there are some people who are now being taken off from their land. People are being taken off from their bibanjas, different people who come up and say they have a big hand. So I call upon our government to help us and fight such peoples because they are trying to spoil the name of the government. Doers are taking advantage. They ambush people. They kill people from somewhere and they bring them and dump them. Their request was that they should at least provide more security cameras along Katonga region.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Thank you so much, Ivan Juko, for that report. Now, UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but returns after these messages.
Sent to transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
It's true, but people keeping an eye on all your balance the old way. I got this. yeah. Balance is... yeah.
What is he up to now?
*11. Keeping an eye on all your balance with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to see all your balance in one place and in real time. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Fellow Ugandans, as we approach the 37th anniversary of the NRM liberation, I want to wish the people of Uganda happy celebrations wherever they will be. I know that in the last few years it has not been easy to gather in big numbers because of the COVID and then because of the Ebola, but wherever they are, I wish them more joyful celebrations. I also want to thank the NRM government for the work done to transform different areas of this country, in the social area, in the health sector, in infrastructure, in the telecommunications sector, and many others that are relevant and which are going to assist this country to develop. In particular, we note that 37 years ago we did not have any prospects for oil, but we can see that there are prospects now, and the future is going to be bright. Now, I also want to inform the people that from my docket, I would like to commit to improving, especially the sensitization on the issues of the East African community, and to ensure that our 4 pillars of integration are fully understood and fully progressively implemented until we achieve full integration within East Africa and then the African continent.
Na mama yangu anauliza katata kangu sapo kalienda wapi? Kibonge cha nini vijana wanahamia msituni?
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, nga you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello. Is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still with us here in UBC News Tonight. Now, President Luwero Museveni has today sworn in the newly appointed justices of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal at a ceremony that took place at State House, Entebbe. Now, the 3 new justices of the Supreme Court include the Lady Justice Elizabeth Musoke, Justice Stephen Musota, Justice Madrama Christopher Martin Izama, and 1 Justice of Court of Appeal, Justice Eva Luswata Luwama who had earlier taken their oaths and were today only introduced to President Museveni. Justice Oscar John Kihika of the Court of Appeal was sworn in at the same ceremony presided over by the principal judge, Sarah Langa-Siu. The president congratulated the newly appointed judges and commended the Chief Justice, Honorable Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo, for improving the performance of the judiciary.
We meet at a time when the relationship between the branches of government, namely the executive, the parliament and the judiciary, has improved. In the 4 or so months that I've been in office, I've noted with great relief and pleasure that there is very little friction between...
To profusely thank you. One, for giving the Supreme Court 3 new justices. Excellency, before the judiciary budget was enhanced, we had situations where a chief magistrate would take care of 4 to 5 magisterial areas. The increments in our budget, we massively recruited and doubled the number of chief magistrates. And this is evident, it is quite manifest from the performance at the magisterial area.
So I really congratulate you, and I want to thank the Chief Justice for the passion he has put in making the judiciary effective. Because there is no doubt that an effective judiciary will make things much easier. But when I come for the conference of judges, if the time is well coordinated, I'll also take time and give you my views. Because you see, the issue of Uganda was the issue of somebody who collapsed, was unconscious, and had to be revived. Because this is what happened to your country, Uganda.
UBC News Tonight. Now, Ivan Kahwa caught up with Namigade Noor, a person living with disability who was affected by the war that brought the NRA into power. Namigade narrates how she managed to survive the hostile times of attacks in Luwero. Now, this is the second episode of the Luwero NRA Elderly Experiences of 37 years.
Nuru Namigade is a person living with disability. She resides in Migade village, katika Luwero district, with her grandchildren. Namigade was living here in the 80s when the NRA waged war against what they termed as bad governance by the past regimes. Due to insecurity, they fled the area. While in her state, Badiru did not at any single time abandon her. They ran from danger together.
I was not able to continue with the journey, but Badru put me on a bicycle, which was loaded on other luggage, and we walked for about 40 miles. We would reach some points to rest, cook, eat, and then move again. We did not sleep at any point.
Badiru always left Namigade to hunt for something to eat, but there was no guarantee for life.
We decided to run and left him. We were 40 miles apart. We did not know if he could find us or not. we used to get news that those who had gone to fetch for food had been killed, and we thought he had also been killed. But we used to hear him roll call us group by group until he identified us while carrying the food he had brought for us.
Namigade says the sounds of explosions and bullets always forced them to keep advancing.
There is a time I fell off the bicycle when Badru lost energy to push the bicycle. When I got up, he asked me whether I had been injured. I said no, I am okay. He put me back on the bicycle and we proceeded. We really suffered.
Namigade is able to weave mats and needs support to be able to do something for a living.
I have one hand, but I can weave mats, I can dig, wash, and almost everything. But I just need support.
As the NRM celebrates 37 years of liberation, Namigade believes persons living with disability have not been prioritized, especially those who are affected in Luwero.
I hear that some people get money. Funds for persons living with disabilities are released, but I have never got any penny. My advice to Museveni is to help us persons living with disabilities have means of transport to the hospitals in case we need healthy services.
Many elders who are part of the war are frustrated by the system that does not allow them to receive their package for participating in the war.
My child of one arm should have also been given something, but the child has nothing. My child stopped in senior 4 because I couldn't raise school fees. I tried going to Luwero for support, but I was frustrated by the leaders. If he could help us and look for his people in Katikamu who are part of the struggle, call us and we talk. But when he summons us, those close to him fear that we might release information which is not in their favor, hence blocking us from meeting the president. That is the only problem.
Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Luwero District.
Thank you, Ivan Kahwa. Now, the State Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Huda Oleru, said her ministry is intended to address the compensation and social economic challenges faced by the military veterans. Honorable Huda made these remarks at the Ministry of Defense headquarters, Buya, while addressing the media on achievements and challenges faced by the Veteran Affairs docket.
A number of military veterans were part of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's NRA Bush War heroes who liberated this country after 5 years protracted Bush War. As part of the national program, NRM government created the Veteran Affairs Ministry to address the compensation of the military veterans to enable them effectively resettle into productive civilian life upon retirement.
Waweddeko emyaka guno mwaka gwa kubiri nga bansuubiza weziri jozi none weziri bwenaddeyo kubera aradiso wibanda nagamba nti sente teziriyo bazirya nimugamba bazirya batya nagamba gwoli e Kampala birondoole naye sente bazijjayo ne bazirya.
14,000 have been paid and we are waiting money of around 91 billion to pay the remaining. Then after that we will go back to look for others.
But the situation under some veterans' lives demands affirmative action. State Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs, Honorable Huda Oleru, admitted the challenges faced by veterans as a result of the pension case backlog.
Out to the communities to verify these people, to find out those who are alive and find out those who are dead and who will now be responsible to receive their benefits. Then in that process, we have now managed to verify 25,000 of them. These ones are now confirmed cases that we need to pay. And out of this, we have already paid 14,000 of them.
The ministry also developed a framework for the rehabilitation of the military veterans and psychosocial support to address their resettlement needs, including reskilling.
The UPDF Amendment Bill 2022, approved by Cabinet, will, among others, establish an enabling legal framework for the management of the military veterans in the country, including providing for better retirement benefits for them and their families, and ultimately enhance their welfare and the socio-economic well-being.
Haruna Mteisasira, UBC News.
Now, in some more exciting news, all preparations are complete in Kakomiro to host the 37th NRM Liberation Day 2023. Now, the parade team has been doing final touches, while those decorating the town also spent the day moving from one place to another. Today, the National Organizing Committee sat and assured all Ugandans that all arrangements are as per plan to have a successful day.
Gordon Babala Kasibante Wavamuno, often simply referred to as Gordon Wavamuno, says that Uganda has been transformed in the last 37 years and there are all reasons to celebrate.
We should accept that we have to have one leader. And one leader at any given time. We remember we went through the elections 3 times, I think, and now we are going to go back again in elections. But if it is for fighting, and unless they want to do like what Mzee did, but Mzee had means, had friends and what have you, to go to the bush and come back.
The Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, says that the NRM government has been able to transform Uganda basing on principles of democracy, patriotism and socio-economic transformation.
Democracy and patriotism. Patriotism, the love for the country. If you have the love for the country, there are certain things you cannot do. And people will definitely say, Nabanja cannot do that. Because you have that spirit that makes you a Ugandan.
Nabanja says that in collaboration with the National Organizing Committee, they have adequately prepared for all people who will turn up for the big day. The Minister for Lands and Housing, Judith Nabakova, says that they have worked tirelessly to produce land titles to be distributed to the people in the lost counties of Bugangaizi and Buyaga, the current Kakomiro, Chibale and Kagadi districts.
Yeah, we have managed to subdivide over 4,500 plots have been subdivided, and out of those 2,500 have managed to pave in.
The President is expected to commission the 93-kilometer Kakomiro-Buhimba Road, the Kakomiro NRM House, and also flag off the distribution of land titles to over 4,600 people in the districts of Kakomiro, Chibale and Kagadi.
The National Social Security Fund has refuted allegations that it's remotely used by highly placed government officials and politicians to divert and misappropriate workers' funds to bankroll private business of people benefiting from abuse of state of power. The acting manager director, Patrick Ayota's remarks follow statements made by the line Minister of Labour, Gender and Social Development, Betty Among. The growth of contributors to the fund and remittances needed to be investigated, as Abdul Nasir Luwama reports.
For the past few weeks, National Social Security Fund has made headlines over misappropriation of workers' savings. The Deming report, tabled before the floor of Parliament by the line Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, several irregularities at the fund, ranging from the stagnant growth of contributors to the fund despite increasing number of factories and industries in the country. The report also revealed that the number of dormant contributors to the fund outweighs the number of active contributors, who are close to 600,000 as opposed to over 1.3 million contributors to the fund project by NSSF balance sheets. This puts the growth of the fund in question. However, most intriguing reports alleging that the management of NSSF is being used remotely by the politicians and top government officials benefiting from the abuse of state power to divert workers' funds for selfish gains with no interest returns on investment, a matter that acting manager of NSSF Patrick Ayota has downplayed.
Can write whatever they want. People can allege whatever they want. The test against a lie is time, and the test against the truth is time. Either way, it will show whether or not I've been able to do that. We have processes in this fund. Many people used to think that, we have got sacks of money. Almost talks to the thing about cheats, that we had sacks of money somewhere. So somebody just wants, say if they want money, they cheat, so I go there, pull it open, here's cash. This fund doesn't have cash.
The allegations of highly placed politicians writing cheats to managers of the fund seeking bailouts first surfaced in 2012 when the former Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Zoe Bakoko Bakuru, attests to it on a live televised talk show in the United States, where she lives in exile, that indeed she used to receive cheats from highly placed politicians seeking clearance from her office to access the fund. Minister Betty Among's revelation on the floor of Parliament about a similar matter of cheats parceled to managers of the funds to dish out funds to politicians under unclear circumstances correlates with her predecessor's revelation in 2012.
Can write and ask for money. So don't ever get upset because somebody wrote, or you read that somebody wrote and asked for money. I think the question to ask is, did you give out the money? Then you become upset if you find out that I did it without a criteria. On those two numbers, I can actually tell you, nothing has left the fund at all.
Despite the alleged misappropriations of the fund, which NSSF is refuting, under the law, government is eligible to borrow from the fund through treasury bonds.
The law has restrained how the government can borrow. They can only borrow through treasury bonds or treasury bills. They can't just walk in and say, we want money. The law doesn't allow them. And that's why we are very comfortable with the safety of member funds, because what they've borrowed, they have a sovereign responsibility. It doesn't matter whether this government comes or goes. Once the sovereign liability, you owe, doesn't matter the regime.
However, as reports of fraudulent misappropriation of the fund take center, Parliament ponders to institute an ad hoc committee of 5 credible persons to investigate and ascertain the authenticity of the allegations. This has attracted public fears about the safety of workers saving at the fund.
The fund, we had to actually get legal opinion. They allowed us to expand the extent of invalidity. Now you think about our processes require that you come and visit us, you sit in front of us, or we visit you, we fill out a form for you and have you sign.
Despite the downs the fund is facing, the management has realized unprecedented income increase of 1.54 trillion shillings in the last 6 months, which is beyond expectation. However, this contradicts with Minister Betty Among's remarks in her report to Parliament that the growth of the fund and its dormant contributors need to be investigated.
As of the end of the day yesterday, just for the month of January, we've collected 121 billion shillings. The month of January, amidst the noise, people actually sending their money, 121 billion shillings. If you compare that to the same time January last year in January, same time, the 24 days between January 1 and January 24th, we collected 97 billion shillings. So we've collected around 24% more this January than we did last January.
Meanwhile, Ayota was quick at assuring savers to fear not any uncertainties emerging from the fund investments.
U.S. Social Security. Built in that is a guarantee of safety. NSF today, by law, NSF itself can make losses, but the law has says the member must be credited with at least 2.5 million shillings, 2.5%. In other words,
the alleged misappropriation of funds in the National Social Security Fund is causing public worry on the safety of money being remitted monthly. Abdul Nasir Luwama, Almario Nawori, for UBC News.
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes, 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. With Airtel, the smartphone network.
We can't tolerate sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment is unacceptable in our school.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabote deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Welcome back. And now into the sports scene. The Uganda Cricket Association, with its partners, has today launched the men's edition of the Waterfalls T20 Elite League a few days after concluding the Women's League. The men's edition will have 3 teams like the Women's League, and the teams will go head-to-head in round-robin games for a slot in the finals. 2 teams will then battle it out onto the final day for the ultimate title. This tournament will run from the 26th of January to the 29th of January 2023 at Lugogo Cricket Oval.
Men's edition of the Waterfalls T20 Elite League. This league comes just days after the conclusion of the Women's League, and the Uganda Cricket Association, together with its partners, are confident this tournament will be one like no other.
We expect a pretty much better version of the Men's Elite League. This is a kind of tournament that provides a platform for the very best, not just in the country, but in the region.
We believe this will be a huge tournament as well, looking at the players who have been lined up to participate in this tournament here.
We know that this tournament is an opportunity for so many cricket players in the country to show what they are able to do, to learn from each other, and to also take on challenges from the region.
The edition has notable names from the cricket cranes, including Kenneth Waiswa, who will captain the Sipi Trekers, Riziat Alisha, commanding the Itanda Kayakers, and Brian Masaba, the Ugandan captain, leading Bujagali Rafters. Like the Ladies League, UCA has invited international players including Karabo Motlanka, Botswana's captain, Sami Sohail, Donex Kasonko and Blessings Pondani from Malawi, Orichide Tiesenga, Kevin Irakoze and Inyasi Ntengeranya from Rwanda.
Being able to attract international players to come and play here in front of our local fans, it should be exciting times. We expect some good quality of cricket and a few lost balls over the next 4 days.
We're really excited, to play amongst the best players in Uganda and some players from African countries, so we're really looking forward for the tournament.
Teams will play games in a round-robin format where each will fight for a slot in the finals. Action will kick off tomorrow, the 26th of January 2023 at the Lugogo Cricket Oval and will climax on the 29th of January 2023. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Well, UBC News Tonight has come to an end. Thank you so much for your company. But a quick reminder that tonight, behind the headlines, Charles Odongtho will be revisiting the censure motion and also looking deep into Kosase's performance. Now, don't miss these faces on your screens tonight. Chris Obori, who is the Communications Director of Parliament of Uganda. Also don't miss Godbert Tumushabe, who is the ED of GLIS, and Senior Counsel Fiona Nabasa Wall. Now on the panel, the panelists tonight, we do have Honorable Ojara Mapenduzi and also Dr. Sarah Bidete. So this and more you do not want to miss on tonight's Behind the Headlines. I'm Laureen Masika Kazimoto. I wish you a blessed night. Goodbye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. Kampala City Grammar Nursery and Boarding Primary School, Mutundwe, is the school which educates your child with good morals, godly behaviors, and passes with a first grade in education. We have transport for students that come from long distances. We have a well-hygienic daycare for babies and playing materials for children. Our classes are of a higher standards. Give us your child and you will never regret. Registration is in progress at Kampala City Grammar Nursery and Primary School, Mutundwe. For more details, call 0705 640 880. Kampala City Grammar Nursery and Primary School, Mutundwe. In God we trust. On the 26th of January 2023, Uganda will mark the 37th anniversary of the Liberation Day, when the ruling National Resistance Army Stroke Movement took over power. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will preside over the event that will have people of different walks of life join to celebrate years of liberation, peace, prosperity, and socio-economic transformation. The celebrations will be broadcast live in Kakumiro district under the theme, "Our resolute effort to transform Uganda is a promise we shall fulfill." UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Super Soul Sisters, yet an amazing episode. I keep saying an amazing episode because we have amazing women. Our Super Soul Sisters are always here to help us take us through their journey. And with me today is Brenda Nanyonjo, who is the proprietor of the Miss Uganda. I think many of you have heard of it. And I must say this is something that quite often when talked about, we only talk about at certain times. Some people have probably not understood what it's about, and she's going to be here to let us know what it actually means, more than what we see in face or what people think they know. So when we hear about Brenda Nanyonjo, who is she? Before the businesswoman, before being for the girls and women activists, before all of these things that you're doing that are great.
I was born to Agnes Nakaiza. She's deceased.
Oh, dear.
My father, Stephen Ziwa, deceased as well. We are two children. Same mom, same dad, me and my brother Kevin Ziwa. I grew up in Kampala most of my life, but my father's origins are in Masaka, Mbirizi. I think with great-grandparents coming from Chisoro or Rwanda, something like that. My mother is, Muganda 311.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were born in Kampala?
Yes, Zambia Hospital.
Okay.